Hi, we are Team Eller Analytics, and our team members are Kapil Goel, Louisa, Chao, Shane, and Parul. The agenda for today is we want to discuss what our social media topic is and what are our objectives, our logic and approaches to deal with this project, the different project processes we undertook to accomplish this. Then we created some OLAP reports and we tested them. After that, we visualized the network and analyzed it, and then we have some conclusions. The topic for our social media project is March Madness, that is a NCAA college basketball tournament. It is one of the most popular sports in the United States during the month of March. There are a lot of people from the college who are pretty excited about this event, so there is a high engagement of viewers, due to which we have a large volume of tweets. So, what are the objectives of our project? The main objectives of our project is to answer a few questions. They are, for a specific team, is there any correlation between the number of mentions and the results of the game? And what are some of the characteristics of the Twitter networks based on the schools? So, in order to answer these questions, we came up with the following strategy. So, we had a tweet and we wanted to analyze team. So, we extracted the team information from that. Then we extracted the hashtag information, the time, and the user information. So all these information would tell us about, like, for example, uh, what are the number of tweets which one particular user is tweeting, or what are the number of tweets the user are tweeting about a particular team. So we are counting tweets based on user, tweet, time, and team. Our project processes are based on the guidelines that were provided in the report, and it's we followed the same process. We started with data collection, then we designed the star schema, we profiled and cleaned the data, then we followed the entire process of extraction, transformation, and loading the data into facts and dimensions. Then we prepared the data for network analysis. After that, we had OLAP reporting and testing, and after that, we did network visualization and analysis. So this is our star schema. So what we are using here is a factless fact table because we do not have any measures to measure. So that's why we are just counting the number of tweets based on different surrogate keys. So we have user dimension, team details dimension, tweet dimension, and time dimension. So anybody can find out about a team. So consider the scenario that a particular user is tweeting about a particular team at a particular point of time. So all this information is captured by our star schema, and based on that we can do some OLAP reporting, which would be discussed next.
So based on that star schema, we created several OLAP structure that we are measuring the count of mentions based on the scrolls and date. As you can see in this example, we are analyzing the counts for 2 days that the Elite 8 games are being played. As you can see for Baylor, since they're playing at the second day, they are having a very high number of tweets generated on the game day. That is the same for Final Four and the champion game. So based on these results, we created some more graphs to help us understand the process. So what you see right here is a bracket that we created. So we map out the number of tweet mentions to the bracket itself. So as you can see, the school names in bold are the winning team of the game, while there are some numbers next to it that represents the number of mentioned tweets. So the numbers in red that represents when a team loses, but they actually have more mentions to it. So for example, on the top left corner, as you can see, Kentucky, the name was voted because they won the game eventually, but Indiana on the other hand, they got more tweet mentions with about 10,000 over Kentucky's 7,600. So what we realized based on this result is that first of all, we don't really see a clear correlation between the number of mentions and the game results. So 8 of the games in these categories are having conflicted data. So when you are having more tweet mention, you actually lose the game. And among these eight games, we found out some patterns. So we see that the schools that is having a large population of students, but they're not really good at basketball rankings, they tend to be the teams like that. For example, Indiana, Wisconsin, and Florida. Those are major universities with a lot of students, but their ranking is not as high as their opponents. So we imagine that the students and the fans are tweeting a lot about the game, hoping they can overcome the opponents, but that may not be the case in the actual basketball games. So here we are tracking the number of tweets based on the final four teams. As you can see, throughout time from Sweet 16 all the way to Champions game, the number of tweets for each of these teams are increasing steadily. So that reflects that the fans are becoming more active as the game is proceeding. And finally, here is a breakdown of the number of tweets. So for championship game, Final 4 and Elite 8, we are listing the top results. We are ranking the schools based on the numbers. For Sweet 16, we listed the top two for each region. So there should be South, West, East, and Midwest. So as you can see, all the number in red, the University of Ohio, Baylor, Kentucky are the winners for some of these stages.
So now we are talking about the network visualization. Initially, although we have 13 million tweets in our database, but due to the capacity of the gateway, we narrowed down to the final four network to analyze and visualize the data. First, we'll see the Kentucky. They are pretty centralized, and there's a few key person there. And this is the Louisville network. You can see obviously there's some key person there and connect to several people. And this one is Kansas. It's a little bit more smaller than Kentucky one, and the people who is connect to numerous people is ESPN, which is the sport channel. And this is the Ohio State network visualization. Ohio State is a little bit different from other school. The connection seems like more weak, and their key person are more less connect to others. From the table, we can see that Ohio State, the number of Ohio State is much different from others. The degree connect to others is pretty weak, and the community there pretty high. So during the whole project, we observed that there is huge traffic for the March Madness, and around 50% of the time, the Twitter's discussion results are matched in the real world results. Also, we observed that the people are connected to each other by the team and the school they study. So people supporting the same team tend to connect together. But the team are separate